Hello, everyone. I'm Adriana. I'm a professor of digital journalism at IBMEC University in Rio de Janeiro, where I come from. And I'm also a PhD candidate at the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro. My article discusses the differences between news production for smartphones and tablets in Brazil. I'd like to share with you the reason why I was interested in this subject. One day during a class, I accessed a newspaper mobile site, and for my surprise, what appeared on the screen? A headless soccer player. Yes, a photo with of a famous soccer player without his head. We all know why these things happen. That's because the editing process for mobile sites, at least in Brazil, is totally automatic. But sometimes we researchers have to think about the obvious, and that's what I did. So I was interested in understanding why smartphones and tablets have had very different effects on the Brazilian newspaper scene, although both devices have very similar features and could bring opportunities to increase the audience and the profitability of media companies. But what we observe in Brazil is that mobile sites merely reproduce news that are published on newspapers' websites. As I've said, the editing process is totally automatic. Therefore, there is no need for journalists. On the other hand, the most important papers in Brazil have launched tablet-specific products since 2012. They all require manual editing, exclusive content, and dedicated teams in the newsrooms. Those products are Folha 10, O Globo a Mais, and Estadão Noite. Folha 10 is a weekly magazine published by Folha de São Paulo, which is the largest paper in Brazil. O Globo a Mais is published on weekdays at 6 p.m. by O Globo, which is the third largest paper in the country. A mais means plus. O Estadão Noite is also published on weekdays, but later, at 8 p.m., by O Estado de São Paulo, which is the fourth largest paper. Initially, the focus of my research was O Globo a Mais, O Estadão Noite, and the mobile sites of O Globo and O Estado de São Paulo. But later, I had to include the print editions of both newspapers since I noticed some overlaps between content of print editions and tablet editions. Here are some pages of O Globo a Mais. It has pictures of the day, columns, exclusive articles, and all its pages are enriched with links, video, audio, and animations. And here is Estadão Noite. It's far less enhanced than O Globo a Mais, but it also has pictures of the day, columns, video, and audio. My research was guided by these two questions. Have smartphones and tablets changed the production routines in newsrooms? Have these devices led to changes in journalistic language? If so, how? But first, I'd like to highlight some numbers of the Brazilian market for smartphones and tablets. Brazil has the fourth largest number of smartphones in the world, behind only China, the US, and Japan. Brazilians spend more time using their smartphones than any other country, 84 minutes a day. In the first quarter of the last year, the sale of tablets grew by 164%. Among tablet users, no less than 45% prefer to read the paper on their devices rather than print versions. The subscriptions of electronic newspapers editions has increased 128% in 2002, which is the last number available. So let's move on to the research. I've done a one-week content analysis of o Estadão Noite, o Globo a Mais, the mobile sites of O Globo and o Estado de São Paulo, and their print editions. After that, I carried out interviews with the editors of O Globo a Mais and Estadão Noite. The hypothesis was that journalism for tablets is imposing limits on integrated newsrooms and is creating a new language. The tablet is not seen as another distribution channel for non-stop content, but rather as a new medium. So let's move on to the results. But first I'd like to explain how I came to these numbers. I've listed all the content published on each medium during the week researched. That would allow me to tally the amount of content they have in common, and therefore the amount of exclusive content that has been produced. This table shows how much o Globo a Mais and Estadão Noite have in common with the mobile sites and the print editions of O Globo and of o Estado de São Paulo. As we can see, there are still some overlaps between tablet, print, and mobile editions. But the table also shows that exclusive content has been produced for these devices. So let's move on to the analysis. Smartphones have not led to changes in the production routines. The 24-hour content production cycle automatically supplies cell phone screens and makes journalists unnecessary. Tablets have changed the production routines. O Estadão Noite and o Globo a Mais have their own team for editing and producing the news. Smartphones have not led to changes in journalistic language. Tactility could have been explored to develop a new language, but it's now merely functional on these devices. Tablets, on the other hand, had led to changes in journalistic language. Tactility has been applied to review content, going beyond turning pages with a finger tap. Journalism for tablets brings a multisensorial experience, which involves sight, hearing, and touch. Let me explain what I mean. In the beginning, with the papers, we could read the news. After that, with the radio, we could listen to the news. Then, with the TV, we could watch the news. On websites, we could read, watch, and listen to the news. But now, with tablets, we can also interact with news using touch. This new language, based on emotion, sensations, and that involves senses, also seeks to entertain readers. Infotainment is no longer a taboo as it used to be for many newspapers. And here are some examples from O Globo a Mais. This article on a diet recommended by a popular nutritionist, readers were invited to press the screen to drag unhealthy food items out of a supermarket cart. Here, readers were surprised with the sound of lightning and thunder, while an animation simulated a storm over the photo. Here, readers could run a finger over a current photo of the Flamengo Park, which is a tourist attraction in Rio de Janeiro, to reveal an older one from its inauguration 48 years ago. And finally, here, readers were surprised with the sound of shots and shattered glass. So, to conclude, I'd like to present my final remarks. Tactility has brought changes to journalism, but technology is already on the way to digitally simulating smell and taste. Probably within a few years, we will be searching how to use the nose and the mouth to access the news. Who knows? Meanwhile, a new generation of wearable gadgets will soon hit the market. As we have seen along history, journalism has always adapted to continuous technological changes. Novel ways to present news will certainly emerge with the news devices. Thank you.